Hey everybody, it's the coach, and this is Madden 19.
Now we find ourselves at the stadium that played host to Super Bowl 52, the wondrous U.S. Bank Stadium in Minneapolis. Today, it's a Week 9 matchup set to go here between the Detroit Lions and the Minnesota Vikings. And no run back here. This will be a touchback, and it comes out to the 25-yard line.
Monday.
On 1st and 10, Stafford. And his first look is incomplete. The tight end, Luke Wilson, was the target. And it's 2nd down.
The good signal callers would never go back in the huddle and play the blame game because they need those guys to protect him. But on that last one, his offensive line, they lost their leverage very quickly, and that's why they were able to get to him and hit him as he tried to throw the football and force it into.
The Vikings after him, and they get there for the sack. Everson Griffin in there to bring him down, and that is sack number 17 for him now on the year.
Brandon, if I'm an offensive coordinator and I see an all-out rush like that, I file it away because I'm going to use their aggressiveness against them as this game goes on. I'm going to hit them with a screen soon.
After the sack, Stafford and the Lions come up on a 3rd and long situation. They'll fake the give. Now Stafford. And it's incomplete. Took a shot, couldn't connect. Those passes out that far wide always make you hold your breath a little bit. Felt like it was in the air for a while.
What it does is allows a defender to gain some ground, come from a long distance, and have a chance to affect the pass.
But fortunately, he's able to recover his own fumble, and that could have been trouble. So here's the Viking offense making their way out. Leading them out is their 6'2 quarterback who was a 4th-round pick back in 2012, Kirk Cousins.
I loved his quote during the week. If I were a defensive back, I would have wanted to play against me last week as well. He's trying to eliminate those turnovers, those interceptions, and get back on the positive side of the ledger throwing touchdown passes.
Yeah, had 4 of those picks, led to the loss. Cousins on 1st down. And the pressure too much that time as Cousins goes down. Ziggy Ansah in there to make the sack. He buries him for a loss of 10.
Didn't have the greatest field position to start, did they? And now, after this sack, it's way worse.
And right off the bat, first play of the game. Going deep downfield for Ross. And nearly an interception here on their opening drive. But instead, 3rd down.
Well, that certainly looked like something that they discussed all week in practice getting ready for this one. Take the big shot right out of the gate. At worst, you'll open up the defense a little bit, loosen them up, have them back on their heels.
Now Cousins. Got a man, it's Ross, complete. And he's able to get this one up to the 45-yard line. That one goes for 36 yards.
They've got good playmakers on the offensive side of the ball. I don't know what happened last week to really hurt their performance and hold down their production, but I would dare say that this week in practice, there's a lot of talk about how they're going to increase their proficiency.
Yeah, that was a good start. That's caught inside the 20. They give him a gain of 38.
You know I'm going to lean towards the defender, right? You know I'm going to do that.
I know.
That's a tough situation for him as I see it. But the truth of the matter is, that ball was not streaking towards him. Had a little arc on it. He's got to find a way to get his head around and make a play on the football.
Cousins now. Got his man complete over the middle. It's Bird. And he'll go down here at the 12-yard line. 5 yards on the catch there. Brings up 2nd down.
One thing you're hoping for when you run drag routes, you're able to hit a receiver in stride, and he can pick up a lot of yardage after the catch. But in this situation, the defense was effective, able to stop him before you get a good head of steam going.
And the stop will come inside the 5 at the 4. 83 yards receiving now for him on the afternoon as he's got a 1st down here.
Well, I know from past experience, before you actually play a game, you visualize what's going to happen. And I don't know anyone who doesn't visualize themselves being in the center of what's going on. That's 3 catches for him here in the early going. He's got to like the way this is started.
Absolutely. 3 catches on any drive is good. Opening drive, that's a tone setter. They'll run with Cook. And he will take this one into the end zone for a Viking touchdown. A great effort there. His 4th touchdown on the year. And the Vikings have taken a first-quarter lead. This is a crew that come out flat their last 2 games, both losses, but just judging by the energy level, they look different here early, and that touchdown shows how.
Yeah, it seems to me that touchdown gets them off the treadmill. Because, you know, you've been on the treadmill. I've seen you work out. You go forever and ever, and it tells you you've gone somewhere, but you really have. You're in the same spot. They've exchanged it for an escalator. Still got some hills to climb, but they can get there.
These are good analogies. I run outside sometimes, though. You know, get some fresh air, a little sun on your face.
A little wind in there.
Yeah, that's right. And no run back here. This will be a touchback, and it comes out to the 25-yard line. The Lions offense, they get ready to head back onto the field. And on the last go-around, they really couldn't get anything going.
They had to punt from deep inside their own territory, which means they're going to lose the field position battle as a general rule. What they're looking for now is a little more consistency, move the ball at least a few times on offense, get a couple of first downs, and hopefully flip the field.
Yeah, just something to build off of. That's what they're looking for here.
Well, it's time for them to be good teammates right here, and what I mean by that is possess the ball for a little while, get at least 2 first downs, give their defense a chance to settle down a little bit after they give up a touchdown.
Here's Stafford now on 2nd down. Blitz coming, and down he goes. Daniil Hunter in there for the 20th time this year as he continues what could be a record-setting season. Well, they go play fake. The problem is nobody was faked out.
And when no one's faked out, what's the end result? Quarterback gets hit.
After the sack, Stafford and the Lions come up on a 3rd and long situation. From the gun, here's Stafford. Under pressure again, and down he goes again. Linval Joseph. He's the one to get him this time, and back-to-back sacks are going to bring up a 4th down.
Well, certainly some teams are not intimidated by down and distance on defense, are they? 3rd and very long? Let's go get this guy again. Big-time pressure.
And now out comes Minnesota. And, Charles, if the season ended today, and it's not going to, we still have December left.
More football.
We're only in November. But they would be a wild card team. And that's great. They'd be in the playoffs, but you know they're trying to bump up to be one of those division leaders.
That guarantees you at least one home game in the playoffs, and that's what you're really seeking. But there also isn't much margin for error for this team, right? Because right where they're sitting, a 2-game losing streak could have them out of the playoffs. So they've got to make sure they continue to keep the momentum going.
Absolutely. There's some sharks smelling blood in the water behind them. A 2nd down throw for Cousins. He's going to flip one out here to his running back. And to the 42-yard line here and brought down there.
Well, it's tough to be a defender in today's NFL because there's so many things to account for in today's passing game, including the back sneaking out of the backfield. Not quite as bad as a turkey bowl where you have that center-eligible stuff, but still a lot of guys to account for.
Cousins from the gun on 3rd. Throw left side, complete to Ross. They stop him for only 3 that time, and that'll bring up 4th down. And how about the call here? They need 2 yards in their own territory on 4th down, and they're going to go for it. Back now with Charles Davis. I'm Brandon Gaudin. 2nd quarter begins with the Vikings holding the football. They are, however, facing a 4th down situation. And how about the call here? They need 2 yards in their own territory on 4th down, and they're going to go for it. They'll indeed go for it. It's Cousins. Over the middle, that's caught by Ross. And he's going to be marked down deep in Detroit territory. Fourth down conversion plays, you usually think 1, 2, 3 yards, maybe 10. Not there. What a huge pickup as the Sticks make a drastic shift forward. From the red zone now, Cousins. And he'll find Thielen on the right side. And he'll get it down this time to the 17. The completion good for 3, and it's second down.
When you see zone defense and you know you've got a drag route on as your primary call, you've got to be really careful as a passer about how far you let your guy go because he might wander into some tough coverage.
Again, it's Cousins. Looking left side, and he's got a man. That's Bird. That catch good for only a yard, and it'll be third down.
And they insert their dime package, 6 DBs here on 3rd and 6.
Expecting pass all the way. To the air again, it's Cousins. And the incompletion there, so that breaks a string of 5 straight hookups. It also leads to a 4th down.
Nice play there to force the incompletion. And to me, one thing's for sure. When you're the underdogs and you're playing on the road, you absolutely have to get takeaways. You've got to get the ball from them.
Yeah, win that turnover battle, going to be key. They didn't get one there, but you get the feeling they keep making plays like that, they might just get a few.
Yeah, once you get one, defensive teams think they come in bunches.
Well, maybe a little bit of an anxious moment there as that ball got closer and closer, but it does curl in.
Yeah, actually did a little bit of a slow dance there with the left upright, didn't it? But had just enough space, as you said.
Here's the Lion offense now as they get ready to take over. They've had it twice. They've punted twice. Not the start they were hoping for.
Not at all, and let's face it, every facility we visit, everyone talks about converting on 3rd down, how big that is. In this situation, they've had to punt it away twice, so they're furiously going over things on the sidelines. What do we need to do to pick up a 1st down and change our momentum? Well, that was a simple throw and catch, but even with that completion, 0 yards gained. So they're behind schedule on down and distance.
I think they were hoping to get it to him. He could make a man or two miss, but that window closed quickly. Here's Blunt. And he will lose yardage here back at the 23-yard line. He'll wind up losing a yard on the play, and they'll be facing a 3rd and 12.
Partner, we're into the 2nd quarter, and I guess you can kind of look at it both ways. The offense, they've got to figure out what they're going to do because they haven't scored any points. But if you're the defense, you're feeling great about what you got going on.
And he fires one that's intercepted. Picked up by Mike Hughes. And they'll start with great field position at the 41-yard line. Well, why do you go out and spend a 1st-round pick on a defensive back? Plays like that. The rookie gets his 1st interception.
Exactly right, and you're trying to limit the number of plays and offense runs. You're trying to limit the number of possessions they have. And he was a guy that I targeted coming out of college and rated very highly for his playmaking skills on defense.
And now he has his 1st career interception. Just a yard on the catch there. It'll be 2nd and 9.
Always laugh when people say, what's the toughest route to defend? And I'm like, any of them, especially if it's a good receiver. That makes things very difficult. But when you're running a drag route, something short, shallow, going through defenders, using guys almost as screens in order to get open, that makes things tough for guys trying to get to the football.
And the quick slant gets exactly 10, and by the nose of the football, they've got a 1st down. 2 minutes to play here in the 1st half. More from Minneapolis after this. A reminder, once we hit halftime, as we do all season, we'll send it down to Jonathan Coachman in Orlando. He'll have all the stats and scores from games in progress around the NFL. He's got his man. It's taken in for a Viking touchdown. As his guys are in for 6, and the Vikings are going to add on to their lead. And it was a tight window. He knew he had to rocket that thing in there. He got it done.
And when you're able to complete one like that, your confidence has to just go sky high. You just mentioned it. Tight window, zings it in there despite excellent coverage. Result, touchdown.
Carlson now to kick this one away. That's fielded in the end zone. And no run back here. This will be a touchback, and it comes out to the 25-yard line. Getting set to go again, Matthew Stafford trots back onto the field. He's got to dig deep here, doesn't he? Team's losing. He's not playing well either.
And they always tell you, don't press. You'll make things a little bit worse. But in this particular situation, you try and heighten your play a little bit. So far, he's thrown one interception. He wants to balance that off with at least one touch.
Theo Riddick. This one complete to Theo Riddick. Touchdown, Detroit. Theo Riddick, his 5th touchdown now on the year. And the Lions strike quickly here for 6 points. Well, he's used to running it that distance. Here he had to catch it, too, before making the run. Heck of a play for the score.
There's not many things better for an offense than a back who is a complete guy, who can run it and catch it. And we just saw him complete a big-time play for a touchdown.
This is fielded a couple yards deep. And a nice return sets him up pretty good here at the 30-yard line. Kirk Cousins now gearing up to lead this offense back out there. He's played a pretty clean first half, a touchdown, no interceptions.
Frankly, that's what they expect out of him. They want to see the ball thrown and thrown well, and he's able to do that and put it in the end zone. They'd love to see more of that before this game finishes. But right now, he's got his team in a good spot.
A good spot, maybe looking for touchdown pass number 2 here in the second quarter. 10 yards on the pickup there, and it'll be second down.
As long as you go through your proper reads and progressions, the drag route can be one of those old reliable plays because usually it's good for a good chunk of yardage, as we just saw there.
And those guys like it, right? They can get the ball with a full head of steam.
Especially against man coverage, because man coverage can typically run it.
And under the Lions' pressure, he's brought down. Ezekiel Ansah in there to get him his 2nd sack now of the afternoon.
They just gave up a sack there, and if I'm not mistaken, they gave up 4 last week, didn't they?
Yes, and just looking really porous, aren't they?
They really are, and I'm wondering if they're going to have to start thinking about keeping the tight end in, maybe a back, someone to help assist.
Into heavy traffic, and it's intercepted. Picked off by Quandre Diggs. And to the 40-yard line, that's where the return stops. Now the Lions offense, they get ready to head back out there. And following that long touchdown pass, a one-play drive last time, to see if the defense, you know they're ready. They don't want that to happen again.
And you would have thought they would have been ready the last time. That's what you work on all the time. Make sure that no one gets behind you. That's the cardinal sin of defense, not giving up the long pass. They did. Let's see how they adjust. This defense has been very disruptive early on as they force another one to go awry.
Seems to be the front and the back end. Pass rush, they've been able to get home, and they're taking the ball away in coverage as well.
I love how you put it together. The front and back working in sync, only way to play good defense.
And able to break one tackle, but then quickly brought down. And before they can run this 3rd down play, we're going to get a timeout, as they'll stop it with just over 40 seconds to go in the first half. The last play on the completion got them half of what they needed. Now here's a tough 3rd and 5. Here's Stafford. And that is incomplete.
Not only was the call spot on, how about the execution of that defense right there? The zone was absolutely locked up tight. He was trying to force it in there on 3rd down.
But if there's a time to force it, he felt like he needed to make a play, right?
Yeah, exactly right. 3rd down, you got to try and find something. There's nothing available there for him.
And Prater's kick is on the money. It's good. And they're back within a touchdown. It's 17-10. They got the interception, but very little movement after, and that forces them to settle for 3. And it does feel like settling when that happens, doesn't it?
It certainly does, but we got to give a lot of credit where it's due, and that's to the defense because they ran onto the field. This is what we call sudden change, right? Interception, you got to go put out the fire, and they did, holding them to a field goal.
And you see Dalvin Cook in the offense heading back out. He only has a single solo carry, 1. Numero uno. Second quarter, they need to get in the ball more, don't they?
I'm not the greatest statistician in the world.
Yeah, you are.
But a back like that with only 1 carry kind of takes me back to college in the classroom. Not enough evidence to the...
And the Pressure too much that time as Cousins goes down. Now whistles come in. We're going to get a timeout here by the offense. As the clock will stop with 18 seconds to go in the first half. Sacks, a growing theme in this first half. This is 2nd and long. Working out of the gun, Cousins. He's going to let this one go deep. And it's intercepted. Picked off by Glover Quinn. And his guys have got it back at the closing stages of the first half. So good starting field position for him here as they come up 1st and 10. After the interception, here's Stafford. A battle for it, and it's intercepted. Xavier Rhodes with a pick. And his guys have got it back at the closing stages of the first half. Now whistles and a timeout with 3 seconds left in the first half. final play of the half. Cousins. Over the middle, complete. That's Ross. And he's going to be marked down deep in Detroit territory. Well, that came a little abruptly here. Still working on my apple up in the booth. Hang on here. Let me spit this out. And we can get to the third quarter now. Fielded about a yard deep. And a nice return sets him up pretty good here at the 30-yard line. Out come the Vikings. They'll have it first on offense as we begin the third. They have the lead. Now they'll be looking for some separation here as we begin the third quarter.
I like the way you term that, because now I think they go a little bit deeper into their playbook. They like what they did in the first half. That worked okay. But in order to get the separation that you just talked about, change things up a little bit. Change your tendencies. Try and hit them a little bit more with some things they didn't see in the first half.
Let's see if they do just that. 2 yards on the carry there. It'll be second down.
They tried a quick hitter inside, but that one was swallowed up because what they're hoping, those big defensive linemen will take the bait and move laterally and open up a crease that they can run through. Didn't happen on that play.
They run it again with Cook. And forget about finding a lane. He barely had time to look up before he was planted in the backfield. They'll wind up losing 3 yards here. And that'll bring up a 3rd and 11 situation.
It's a tough one right there. He ran right into the teeth of the blitz as the linebacker was freed up in order to stuff that one for a loss. I think quarterbacks got to see that. Got to find a way to audible into something a little more advantageous.
To throw is Cousins. And the Lions pressure too strong. Down he goes.
I think normally we would talk about this more with basketball players and football players, but let's adopt it in this case. He's a stat sheet stuffer.
Had the interception earlier, now a sack. But he just needs a touchdown for the trifecta.
That's about all he needs, and he's going to go for it.
On 4th down, they do snap it to Cousins. Going deep downfield for Ross. And it's incomplete. They cannot convert, and they turn it over. Boy, a real head-scratcher there. And now possession's going to go over with a football at the 20-yard line.
I don't know why you would do that. It's almost guaranteed points the other way. I mean, I get it if it's a late-game situation, maybe even 4th and inches. But, boy, that's a huge risk to take.
Yeah, now they're set up in prime position going the other way. And this one goes nowhere. Losing yardage back at the 22. It's a loss of a yard there, and now second down.
So statistically, both of these offenses having a rough time getting a running game going. But, boy, what a nice play there defensively.
Tackling him behind the line, but you're right. You look at the numbers. Neither side looks on track in the ground game. Now the Notre Dame man, this is Theo Riddick. So he got free of one tackle but couldn't do a whole lot else. Anthony Barr in on the tackle.
Despite the blitz, they're still able to pick up a nice solid gain. The disadvantage of blitzing often alters the normal spacing and run fits and leaves creases like they were able to exploit right there.
Throwing on 3rd down, Stafford. Caught on the right side by Jones. It's a gain of 6 as they're able to convert, and now it's 1st and goal.
Many teams, as soon as they spot man defense, if they haven't called a hitch, they'll get to it as fast as they can. They want to put the ball in the hands of one of their best playmakers and hope that he can break a tackle on the outside and go for big yardage.
Throwing on 1st down, but this one winds up to be incomplete. And that one goes incomplete. They tried something out of the bag of tricks, but it's incomplete and now second down. This looks like a free play for Stafford. And they drop him for a loss, but penalty markers are on the field. Let's see about the call.
Offside, defense.
And that one was relatively easy to see. I noticed that from up here.
Yeah, it doesn't take a whole lot, does it? Sometimes you get multiples. What I always love on these offsides is when each side points at the other. Hey, you did it. No, you did it. They deciphered that one correctly.
Following the penalty, here's another 2nd and goal from the 5 now. going to be stopped before he could even get started. It'll be a loss of 1, and that is going to set up 3rd and goal. The shotgun snap for Stafford. And he'll get into the end zone. Touchdown, Detroit. Golden Tate, his 4th touchdown on the year. And the Lions are an extra point away from tying this thing up. And now we're all even. Brand new ball game, tie game.
In a sense, you're starting over. Tie ball game, everyone's back to even, back to equal. A good job getting back in it.
A little surprising they wouldn't go for 2, but this is up and good. And that will level the playing field at 17 all. This is fielded at the goal line. And he'll take this one near the 25, call it the 26-yard line. Now the Vikings offense gets set to take over here. And last time out, went for it on 4th down, turned it over, gave them great field position, turned into 6 points, so they've got to recover here, Charles.
It's amazing what one decision can do in the chain of events, right? The decision to go for it on 4th down.
Caused all of that.
It caused every bit of it, but it showed confidence. Hey, I've got confidence in you guys. Go pick it up for it. Didn't happen. Also showed confidence in the defense. They didn't pick up their end of the bargain, so now they've got to come back out and start over and rebuild that confidence. Well, partner, I'm not sure how this drive's going to end, but how about the way they flipped field position there? A nice attacking play that picked up a heck of a chunk of yardage.
Going deep, and this is caught. And he'll get into the end zone. Touchdown, Minnesota. A big play there. His 2nd touchdown of the game, 17th on the year. And the Vikings are going to take the lead. And when a Hail Mary is completed for a touchdown pass like that, I think any defensive coordinator just puts their face right into their hands.
I don't think there's any doubt about it, and I don't have stats in front of me. I don't have the empirical numbers that say that in recent years the Hail Mary pass has been completed more than it has been, but it feels that way, doesn't it? And I know the defenses are spending more time on it. I think the biggest mistake they make is that they play everything from behind the receiver. I think they've got to start getting people in front as well to try and knock the ball away.
So the Lions offense ready to go back out onto the field. And they're hoping to redo their efforts in the last drive when they got into the end zone.
And just think of what it's like now on the sideline, because when you score a touchdown, you have to go over and look at the tablet and see what you did on the last drive. When you scored points, it's a whole lot better view than when you're trying to figure out how to fix things there.
2 yards on the pickup there. It'll be 2nd and 8.
Typically, we think it's the strong safeties that are better tacklers, especially closer to the line of scrimmage amidst traffic. But in this case, how about the free safety coming up and making the big-time play?
They go back to Riddick. Now this will go for 5 up to the 33.
And that's one of the reasons you like to blitz even on rundowns. It confuses the blocking assignments. It doesn't allow those offensive linemen to get up to the 2nd level.
And we return, welcoming you back to Minneapolis. It's the Lions trailing, but with possession of the football as we get set to bring you the 4th quarter. They'll run it now out of the gun. And he's going to have the 1st down, yardage to the 35. 3 yards there, good enough to keep the drive moving.
Haven't met a football team yet that runs the ball successfully that doesn't talk about having an attitude to be a running football team, right? You got to be able to put your nose in there, smell where the 1st down sticks are, and get there.
Pressure coming from the Vikings, and they get there and bring him down. Everson Griffin in there to get him, and that's sack number 18 for him on the year.
Well, someone's closing in on the league lead in sacks. He came into the game in the top 5. Now you add 2 more to his total.
To throw is Stafford. Looking down. He's got a man. Complete. And that one results in 35 yards.
I'd have to say that whenever you see a good post route run, they do not like to let it end without the catch. Hence, that great diving play.
Yeah, lay it up there, let him go get it. And he got it. They'll find a man over the middle. It's Galladay. Back-to-back nice plays, 12 yards that time and a first down.
And when you're playing a quarterback with some experience and some moxie, you enter the danger zone when you decide to blitz him, because if he's able to diagnose as he did on that play, he can hurt you downfield.
He reads defense. Under pressure, and he will go down. Sack back at the 38. Everson Griffin in there for the sack, and he's closing in on that all-time record. That's number 19 on the year. And they need to work to at least get some of this yardage back after the sack. 2nd and 19. Out of the gun, Stafford to the right and complete to Galladay. And he's able to get it down to the 25-yard line. A good pickup there, 13 yards as they get closer for 3rd down.
Well, that's what you're looking for when you want to throw the ball downfield. You want one of those guys who can play out on the perimeter, can play out wide, who can not only get open, but when they're covered, they can uncover themselves downfield and create catches.
And he takes it down to the 10-yard line. They're able to convert on 3rd down, and that sets up a 1st and goal.
When this offense can get their tight ends involved, they can move the football. Here, a nice route, able to look it in, and picks up the 1st down.
They'll try and run for it on 1st and goal. And that didn't fool anybody. He's going to be dropped in the backfield. That's going to go as a loss of a yard, and it'll be 2nd down. Time for a break. We'll come back, see what transpires after this. To throw on 2nd down is Stafford. His throw incomplete. 3rd and long coming up. Defensively, you pressure the quarterback or drape all over the passing lane?
Yes, that's exactly what you do. It's both because they're not mutually exclusive. They may have been at one time in football, but not anymore. You want to have that pressure. If you have a big-time pass rusher, send him after the quarterback and then make sure you...
a crusher there as it's intercepted. Picked off by the former first-rounder Trey Waynes.
Partner's bad enough when you just can't hold on to the football. But when your quarterback's throwing it to the other team, that's 3 interceptions now, 4 turnovers for the game. You really have no chance to win the football game.
Throwing here, Cousins. And that is incomplete. He was looking for John Ross that time. That'll bring up 2nd down.
I guess they figure with a guy who is that hot downfield, who knows how to get the ball into the end zone, you throw it up and give him every opportunity, even though that one fell incomplete.
Yeah, he's already been in the end zone multiple times, trying to target him again deep there, but unsuccessful. Cousins now 5 straight completions here in this 2nd half. 1st and 10. Cousins to throw. And he's got his favorite target yet again. It's complete. And he will score. Touchdown, Vikings. A big play there. 56 yards. And the Vikings find a way to stretch their lead. Trying to bust out of that losing funk, and these fans have to like this. And, all right, fellas, this is more like it.
And I know that if this holds up after the game, they're going to give the fans a lot of credit being at home, getting the support. But you and I both know it goes deeper than that. They had to get it together in their own facility, look each other in the eye and say, okay, what's it going to take to break this losing streak? And they really came together with a good week of practice.
And Detroit getting set to go now. And 3 interceptions in this game. And I would have to think, I wasn't a quarterback, but number 4 is kind of, you're like, oh, man, I can't throw 4.
No, and what's interesting is, what do the coaches decide to do now? Having thrown 3, do you alter your offensive strategy? Do you take the ball out of his hands and maybe turn to the running game? Or do you have that supreme confidence that he's going to turn things around?
We'll see what they do. He started out having some troubles back in the first half connecting with his receivers. Really hasn't gotten a whole lot better.
Yeah, he's at less than 50%, and you and I both know that just won't do. So I would think about spreading things out, putting it on the receivers, make them win those one-on-one battles on the perimeter, and find their way open.
And too much juice. It'll be out of bounds, incomplete. Tried to go for the big one there on second down. Now they're likely down to their final 2 plays.
And you know they've got to keep going for the big shot, right? So defensively, you play what they call top down. Nothing behind you. Make everything get completed in front.
To throw on third down. Stafford. Oh, he almost intercepted it. They're just forcing it into too many tough spots. That was almost a 4th pick of the game. And now 4th down.
This defense was definitely alert to the possibility of the deep ball, and they were more than ready for it.
They've got the lead, 4th quarter. Maybe can expect more passes like that downfield. Desperation time for Stafford on 4th down. And they'll set up shop right near midfield at the 49-yard line.
Pass interference. Defense.
Thought he had the pick. Flag comes in for PI, so cancel it out.
Interference. Oh, a killer for them. Thought they had a nice play. Instead, they'll be marching off yardage against them.
On 1st down, it's Stafford. And Jones has it over the middle. And he'll be brought down at the 48-yard line. A good pickup there. 8 yards on the 1st down completion. On 2nd down, here's Stafford. The Vikings after him, and they get there for the sack. And a stoppage here, a timeout before this 3rd down play takes place. As they stop it here with 1:07 remaining. On 3rd down, Stafford. And he'll find Galladay. That's complete. And taking it across midfield and inside the 45. A gain of 13 and also a 1st down. And they get up on it quickly and spike it with just a little over 50 seconds to go. And that one goes incomplete. They tried something out of the bag of tricks, but it's incomplete and now 2nd down. Here's Stafford now on 2nd down. Oh, a hit. He lost the football. Stafford puts it on the ground. They get to the line here, but remember, it's also 3rd down. Again, it's Stafford. Golden Tate's gonna go. And he takes this one into the end zone, and all of a sudden, here in the final minute, things get a little bit tighter. Okay, game on. Don't go anywhere yet. You got a 1-score game now. Probably going to rely on the onside kick coming up.
Yeah, they have to. It's not a high percentage play, but it's better than not having a chance at all. And that's when you put your leapers and your flyers on one side, get that high hop, and hope that one of the guys can come up with it.
And on the other side, you get that hands team ready.
No doubt about it.
So with under 30 seconds to play, this is the game right here. And now the Vikings are going to stop it here on defense with a timeout. It's just their first. They've got 2 more to use here in the final stages. And the Vikings hands team able to recover, and that should just about do it. Well, 4th quarter, they felt like they needed the football back. Unfortunately, they couldn't get it.
And I know we've brought analytics into the game, and someone has said here that the data says that when a team's expecting an onside kick, 80% of the time, the team expecting it, they do actually recover the ball, which is what we saw here. I just wonder if that number is much more of a anecdotal type of a number. Kind of like when the coaches tell us, well, when you score on special teams, 93% of the time you win the game. I'm still waiting to see that number is empirical.
And now we're going to get a timeout here called by the defense as they get it with just 19 seconds left on the clock. They run again on 1st down. Cook. And they're going to lose some on this play. Being knocked back to the 18. It's a loss of 2 there, bringing up 2nd down.
Yeah, let me puff out my chest a little bit, even though I'm not rooting for either team. That was a really nice defensive play. It's awfully fun to watch, even in an offensive game.
And they'll lose yardage here. Knocked back to the 19-yard line. Well, I know at points in this one you wanted to close your eyes because of all the points that were being put on the scoreboard. You're a defensive guy, but it was a fun little track meet, wasn't it?
It was, and you know the people who really enjoyed this game? They're the ones that like going to batting practice at the Major League Baseball parks, right? Seeing the 14-11 game, that sort of deal. That's right up their alley with what we saw in this one.
So for the Vikings, the win will help them keep pace in the playoff race as they move to 6-3 on the year. And they'll be able to enjoy this one through the bye week before they get back at it again. Meanwhile, for Detroit, they fall 2 games under 500 now at 3-5. And they'll try and turn things around next week as they have a date at Soldier Field with the Chicago Bears. So for Charles Davis and our entire crew, I'm Brandon Gaudin. Next game, guess what? Charles and I will be here again. It's the NFL on EA Sports.